Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in New York after a successful Quad summit in Delaware. The Quad Leader Summit took place on Saturday at US President Joe Biden's hometown of Wilmington. Several important decisions have been made at this summit, attended by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, and Fumio Kishida of Japan. Before we get you the details of the summit and why it is significant, take a look at how Indian diaspora welcomes the Prime Minister in New York.
बैठक ऐसे समय हो रही है जब विश्व तनावों और संघर्षों से घिरा हुआ है। ऐसे में साझा डेमोक्रेटिक वैल्यूज के आधार पर क्वाड का मिलकर साथ चलना पूरी मानवता के लिए बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण है। हम किसी के खिलाफ नहीं हैं। हम सभी एक रूल्स बेस्ड इंटरनेशनल ऑर्डर, संप्रभुता और क्षेत्रीय अखंडता के सम्मान और सभी मसलों के शांतिपूर्ण ढंग से हल निकालने का समर्थन करते हैं। फ्री, ओपन, इंक्लूसिव और प्रॉस्परस इंडो पैसिफिक हमारी साझा प्राथमिकता और साझा प्रतिबद्धता है। हमने मिलकर हेल्थ सिक्योरिटी, critical and emerging technologies, climate change, capacity building जैसे क्षेत्रों में कई सकारात्मक और समावेशी इनिशिएटिव लिए हैं। हमारा मैसेज साफ है, क्वाड इज हियर टू स्टे, टू असिस्ट, टू पार्टनर एंड टू कॉम्प्लीमेंट।
The Quad also made a mention of cross-border terrorism. The statement mentions 26/11 Mumbai attacks and Pathankot attack. As the Prime Minister met Biden, the two leaders discussed Bangladesh crisis as well.
Prime Minister had bilateral meetings with his other Quad counterparts. The overall messages that have come through in all of his engagements have been India's emphasis on minimizing conflict and division, leveraging our democratic values even as we pursue our development objectives, and highlighting the role of technology and the digital revolution in ushering in good governance. I want to again underline that we are involved in a set of ongoing conversations with interlocutors on all sides. At the moment, these are very important conversations that are going on with multiple people on all sides of this conflict. Subjects that are in the region, they may be of bilateral interest to one party or the other, but they do have significance beyond the region as well. And in this context, a number of situations came up for discussion. Bangladesh also figured in the discussions, and there was an exchange of views with regard to the situation there.
President Joe Biden also spoke about the importance of Quad meeting and important democracies coming together.
Mr. President, will the Quad survive beyond the election in November?
What survive?
The Quad, will it survive regardless of the outcome?
Way beyond November.
All right, the Quad statement there that was issued earlier has signified how they are speaking about Chinese aggression. The statement read, as four leading maritime democracies in the Indo-Pacific, we are unequivocally standing for maintenance of peace and stability across this dynamic region as an indispensable element of global security and prosperity. We strongly oppose any destabilizing or unilateral actions that seek to change the status quo by force or coercion. We condemn recent illicit missile launches in the region that violate UN Security Council resolutions. It also went on to say that we express serious concerns over recent dangerous and aggressive actions in maritime domain.
Okay. Well, I'm being joined right now by Suhak Shukla, who's one of the organizers of this event. We're waiting with bated breath for the event to begin, and it starts off in about an hour and a half from now. But Suhak, before the proceedings begin, tell us about the challenges that you faced in putting this entire event together. You're expecting almost 15,000 people to turn up, and they've been coming from different parts of the United States. I've been told that almost 40 states of the United States of America are being represented in the audience here. So tell us about what it took to put this event together.
That's right. This is a mega event. That is not an overstatement. Not only do we have 13 to 15,000 people coming here, but we had almost 25,000 people register. So it's probably the hottest ticket in town because maybe 1 in 2 got it. This is an entirely volunteer-driven event. Can't imagine that a mega event can be run like this. So we are asking for forgiveness ahead of time because we all have full-time jobs. But when we found out that the Prime Minister was going to be coming to the United States, we said, will you be open to meeting with the community? And he wholeheartedly said, yes, we know that the Indian diaspora is a key part of India's soft power. And so maybe 4 weeks ago, maybe a little bit longer, the smaller committees started getting together, then building out the volunteer team. We have over 300 volunteers. We have a cultural program where there's 500 performers, and you can imagine with that many volunteers, the challenges. Just from the beginning, the registration process, how did we do that? We have welcome partners, over 500. Who are these welcome partners? They are key parts of the Indian American diaspora. They are community organizations that represent every linguistic background, every cultural background of India, because the theme for this event is unity in diversity.
Why was Nassau County specifically chosen for this event? Of course, the Prime Minister, when he came here in 2014, for the very first time as part of a bilateral visit, he had an event at Madison Square Garden, also in New York. Tell us about why this specific venue was chosen for this event.
I wasn't actually involved in the selection of the venue, but as you see, there has been a program in New York. New York is a big state. Oftentimes people in Manhattan would never think of coming all the way out to Long Island. So where there are events in different places, like San Jose one year, Houston, Texas, as you said, Manhattan, and now Nassau County and Long Island, it provides an opportunity for different regional areas to jump into the action and help us as our local team.
Also give us a bit of a perspective about what we can expect on stage once proceedings get underway. Who are some of the performers who will be present here, and who are some of the dignitaries that you've extended an invitation to be part of this event as well?
Well, in terms of dignitaries, we really have the who's who of the Indian American community. As most people know, the Indian American community has punched above its weight. We have reached the highest levels of any sector that you can imagine, whether it's medicine, STEM, entrepreneurship, business, you name it, you're going to see Indian faces there. We are amongst one of the highest educated and most successful minority community in this country. So picking the who's who was actually a very difficult position. And so we have well over several hundreds of VIPs who are attending, and hopefully they will be on camera talking to many of the people around the world who are interested in watching this event. As far as the cultural program, we have, as I mentioned, 2 stages. 400 performers will be performing on the main stage, and 100 performers will be keeping the people, because there's going to be very long lines, 13,000 people coming in, going through security. Getting into their seats is no short order. We're expecting maybe 2 to 3 hour lines. So our outside stage will keep people enthralled with the cultural heritage of India. What's beautiful about this event is that it's attracted entertainers and artists from every corner of India, north, south, east, west, and everything in between.
And how chaotic have the last couple of months been once you, of course, got to know that you need to put this event together?
Well, it's been not just every night, daily calls. I was on vacation in Bali, still taking the calls. So it takes a tremendous amount of sacrifice and focus to put something like this together. The organizing committee, of course, was there. There were a second layer of team leads. We have logistics, we have security, we have parking, we have hospitality, we have media. So many verticals. Each one of those verticals was led by people, and under them are hundreds of volunteers. Getting them on the same page, understanding what the process is, all of that has taken multiple layers of communication. And so day in and day out is what it's taken.
So one of the unique features that we've seen with Prime Minister Modi, especially on his visits to other countries, particularly the United States, is the Diaspora Connect. He makes it a point to meet members of the Indian community, and more often than not, it's events like this that end up taking shape, where there are massive gatherings, there's an address by the Prime Minister. It's part of his outreach to members of the Indian community residing outside of India. What do you have to say about that particular initiative that he's taken ever since he became Prime Minister almost 10 years ago? This has become a regular feature of not just his visits to the United States, but every other country that he visits where he interacts with members of the community.
Absolutely. Look, the Indian American diaspora, or any diaspora, once you're of Indian origin, your heart remains Indian. We carry our cultural ethos of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. We carry our arts, our traditions with us. So we are the frontline diplomatic corps, if you want to say, of India's culture and soft power. So I think that Prime Minister Modi recognizes the importance of the diaspora, and I think it's really important for, I'm a second generation, for instance. I was born and raised in this country. My father came here in '64. I still have a very deep connection to India. So to know that the elected leader or the government of India still cares about the diaspora is very important, and I think meeting with the diaspora is a good indicator of that being a priority.
Finally, what do you expect to be the most important takeaway from what's going to happen in a couple of hours from now?
Well, you know, the Prime Minister is such an eloquent speaker. I'm sure he will leave the crowd dazzled and inspired, and hopefully wanting to find ways in which we can nurture the U.S.-India friendship and to continue carrying our traditions and culture proudly.
Right, many thanks for speaking to Times Now, Suhag, and congratulations once again in putting all this together.
Thank you.
Diaspora is a priority, is always clear when Prime Minister goes abroad, but even for those living out of India, they wait eagerly for one glimpse of their Prime Minister. We spoke to some of those people. Listen into the reactions coming in.
Very excited, very excited. We don't usually get this opportunity, so I'm looking forward to see him from the distance at least.
हम तो बहुत excited है. We are basically from India, but we all live here, and then we play dhol tasha to keep alive the roots of India.
Belated happy birthday, Modi ji, and you are most welcome to the USA. और हाँ, we are performing the dhol tasha, which you can see it's a Puneri dhol, and we are from New Jersey, as well as this is a dhol tasha, which is called as a traditional Maharashtrian beats. It's originated in Maharashtra, India, during the time of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. Its legacy is continued.
Now back home, there has been a lot of politics around Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit. We've got reactions that have come in from the opposition where they say that this is nothing but a personal promotion visit by Indian Prime Minister. They're also questioning why does he not visit Manipur if he has all the time to go to the US. But those in the opposition can be accused of trivializing diplomacy because the foreign relations of a country are equally important. And here Prime Minister Narendra Modi has been charting a course for independent India's independent foreign diplomacy. While they might not be aligned with somebody, but we are standing our own ground. We have seen back-to-back visits coming from Indian Prime Minister. He went to Ukraine, he met the Russian president. He has had equally good relationship, whether it comes to a Republican president or presidential candidate or a Democrat president or presidential candidate. In fact, just before this particular visit to the US, we heard Trump during during one of his speeches. He was talking about how US has managed to impose trade tariffs on those who do not believe in its policies, especially when it comes to the war between Russia and Ukraine. He went on to say that India was a major abuser. However, even as he said that, he had words of praise for Indian Prime Minister. He called Modi a fantastic man. Then yesterday, when Prime Minister Narendra Modi was talking about how Quad is here to stay, remember this particular term ends sometime in November, and there have been a lot of questions about whether it is futile to have a grouping like this, whether it has been able to serve its purpose or not. Even then, while answering that question to the media, the president of US, Joe Biden, had said that it is here to stay well beyond November. And while doing so, very significantly, he had his hand on Modi's back. Why is that significant? Because India was supposed to host Quad this time around. However, there was a swap given that Joe Biden was ending his term and India will be hosting it the next time around.